You got it. You got it. AJ, how you doing? Trevor, what's up? Mm-mm. Anyone here want to be a project manager?
Yeah, don't say yes.
What was that answer? Don't say yes. Was that you, Trevor?
Yeah, that was me.
What'd you say? You want to be a project manager?
No,
You
I
did.
said don't say yes.
Oh, don't. What do you want to do?
Oh, I am one. I was just implying that it's not exactly there's a
Like,
lot to it.
yeah. Is that what you're gonna keep doing or?
Probably. I'll talk about it.
Oh, you're a speaker. I'm sorry, Trevor. I'm spacing out. I'm looking for people in our group who are, I didn't even think that you'd be on here so early. So how are you, man? I'm Jordy.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good.
Yeah, I figured I'd hop on and kind of see what was going on and
It
get a
caught
mic
me by
check and all that.
surprise. I was like, wait, who is this guy telling me he's a project manager? He doesn't want. That's funny. Thanks for coming on early, man. Appreciate it. We start in at like right at 11, so they're 20 minutes. Where are you based, Trev?
Louisville,
Louisville,
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
That's
Am I
Am I
lagging or
lagging?
breaking up?
no, you're good.
Okay.
All good. All good. AJ, I'll get you that stuff we talked about yesterday. I just have to show it to one other guy. Hey, Sheila, how are you? Manuel, Isaiah, Tim.
Morning, how are you?
Am I still echoing?
No, you're good. Sheila, you and I can catch up later when we get a break. I'll brief you on conversation with Dan.
Okay, sounds good.
You got it. Anyone have any questions while we're waiting to get cranking?
I think I have a quick question.
Yeah, fire away.
I submitted my video for my Seven Eagle profile last Monday,
Mm-hmm.
and it hasn't been posted yet.
Ooh,
Should I
that's
keep waiting?
no. Thanks for letting us know. Maybe it got
They they take your video and they make it into a YouTube video, so they reformat it into a YouTube. So it takes a few days.
Can you do me a favor, Alessia? Just email Trish at Seven Eagle and just say, can you please give me an update on my video intro,
Yes, sir.
getting it posted, and she'll nudge it along.
Thank you.
You got it. If you guys haven't yet, make sure on your screen names for Zoom info or for Zoom here, if you know what you want to do, put it after your name, right? Like you see Emmanuel Reynolds, it says Emmanuel Cyber Operations, because it helps the speakers when they can see what you want. Emmanuel, you doing cyber in the military or are you making a pivot? I can't
Military.
hear
I do cyber in the military.
you. You do, okay. Do you want to help? Andrew's going to help too, but do you want to have some questions prepared for our speaker at 2 o'clock. His name is Joel Molinoff. He's one of the top cyber guys in the industry.
Yeah, I
I'd
can do
love to
that.
give you, yeah, just have a question you want to ask him. You can check him out on LinkedIn. He works at Blue Voyant. His name is Joel Molinoff, but he'll like that.
All right.
Do we have any other cybers on the call?
I am a little bit too. I'm looking at mainly like system administrator, IT, like
Oh, good.
cyber. Yeah, a little bit of everything with IT.
Awesome. All right, yeah, check him out. Check him out too as well. If you want to ask a question. He's a good guy to know. Anyone do any social posts last week?
I did a few.
Who was that, Timothy?
Yes.
Nice. Can we take a peek? You mind if I look?
Sure, go ahead.
Let's see what you did. All right.
I'll be covering some of that today.
Nice. Awesome. Bummer. I would just quick critique, Timothy. I would make your head like double the size, and center it, make it look a little bit more professional. Have your head take up like 60% of that vertical space. The background's cool.
Yeah, I was trying to keep the monument in there with the
It
sunset,
just,
but
you know how to do, I know the iPhones have it. You can highlight yourself and slide it over, like put your head closer to the monument if you want that. Because when you make your head bigger, the monument's going to get pushed out of the frame.
okay, yeah, I'll give that a shot.
Okay. Yeah, I would do it. It just looks a
Can I
little too
make
casual,
so
the picture.
can I make a
Yeah, fire
suggestion?
away. Yeah. Who was it?
So
Trevor?
one of the things, Trevor, yeah, one
Yeah,
of the
go
things
ahead.
you got to think about on your LinkedIn, that is prime real estate. You advertising, that's the first thing people see when they go to your profile. That's the first impression they get of you. You are wasting that right now by putting a mountainscape in there. Go into Canva, PowerPoint, whatever tool you use, and use that to advertise yourself. Like, Jordy, pull up my page, please. That's one of the biggest mistakes I made recently, first starting out. Like, see right there, you can see everything I'm about on my banner without even looking at anything else. So you don't want to waste that opportunity if that's the first thing people see is your picture and your banner. Highlight what you're about, highlight what you're looking for, highlight what you can do.
Yep, absolutely. So you want that. Let me just go back one. Yeah. So, and I also can't tell what you want to do here, Timothy, right? So what is it? What do you want to do?
I'm still figuring that out.
Okay. So once you do, you want that to be very crystal clear, just like Trevor said with the background, you want everything to align. So it's like, oh yeah, there's the aviation tech, right?
It's
And it's a
also
picture of an airplane, and that describes that as well.
it's also a little confusing when you say servant, comma, leader, teammate, special operations, problem solver. Like you're not putting it across to people that come to your profile what it is that you do. You need to make it crystal clear, because if somebody is going to be coming to your profile and you don't make it clear who you are and what you're about by the time they get done with your profile, with your picture, your background, and underneath your name, they're not going to keep scrolling.
Yeah, they might
So
not
you could
even
have the
go
most
that way.
amazing profile. You could have the most amazing profile, the most amazing thought leadership content, everything else down below. But if you can't catch them there, then you're not going to keep them going. Kind of like a resume.
Yeah. Tim, all this, Timothy, once you have that career path determined, everything will get easier. I know it's hard right now because you're oh my, you do a sled dog? You're a sled dog driver? Or are you the guy pulling?
That just means I'm a workhorse on the team.
Oh,
Like,
okay. But
so,
once
so
you have that
maybe that's a
figured out,
jargon thing.
yeah, that's fine. You just throw this into ChatGPT for inspiration and help you craft it, to what Trevor was saying. Same thing with this about section, right? You really want to gear that, make sure there are no
And
typos, you don't want any grammar mistakes, all that. But let's just take a peek. So which was the post you did? This one? Shout out?
There's a couple posts, so I think I did like 3 or 4 posts in
Nice.
total. So
Let's take a peek. Ah, what happened? All right, for my PMP connections, how long did it take you to get yours from start? The Air Force program that gives me a year. I'd like to knock, is that achievable?
connect with me offline. I've got somebody for you.
It's good. I would just, I mean, you're encouraging some engagement there, which is good. I would get a photo in there, it lets you, like Trevor was saying, they give you this real estate, use it. Maybe make this a little longer, make it, just flush it out a little bit more. Tag the Air Force, tag PMP if it's a group or something. You want to try to encourage more people to see this. Make sure you always respond. If anyone leaves a comment out of respect, just write a note back to them, Thank you for the feedback. How could you have made this better, Timothy?
I probably could have just added a little more to it. I
Yeah,
made
just
the
make.
post as the brief was going, to be honest. Like after I was like, man,
Oh,
there's some
okay, it was
good
quick.
information
That's
going
fine.
on. And I made the post and then I got more after it. So I could have gone back and edited it to
Yeah,
add
just edit.
context.
Tag the if you're talking about Patrick who spoke, tag him. Right? Great information from at Patrick Adcock at Excelsior University. Tag both of them. Tag the GI Bill, right? Put hashtags. All right, good. But I'm glad you're doing it. That's the point. Just get in the game of posting, Anyone else do one we could take a quick look at before we start today? Who wants to volunteer? Who did a post last week?
Jordy, you can look me up, Maria
Yeah,
Bussey.
Thanks.
It's not the best.
That's okay.
I'm still
I don't
working
care
on
about
it, but
that.
I like to make random posts.
Good. That's what counts. Just get in the game. Good. I would do for your headshot.
The random ones.
Open mouth smile.
I was just
right?
going to say the random ones.
I don't like my teeth, Jordy.
Oh, don't be critical of yourself. But listen, if you like that picture, go with it. I'm just giving you my 2 cents, but that's fine. Again, the background, I would make it more. What's the job? What do you want to do?
So I'm a healthcare administrator. I'm Air Force. I was a group commander for a clinic.
What do you want to do
So
on the next? Something in healthcare?
healthcare, I'm also looking at HR, so it just depends.
Okay. Can you combine the two, like HR in healthcare?
You can.
No, I'm saying because that'll give you more value, I feel, if you can combine your past experience and it works and you want to work in healthcare again, do it. I don't like this first line chief executive officer. That's going to scare away recruiters and hiring authorities from recruiting you. Because
Okay.
they're like, wait, what? Does she want to take over our boss's job? What is that? But just this is all easily done, I feel, with chat, right? For inspiration. So write a LinkedIn headline for me and give me options, paste what you got. How many years in the Air Force?
24.
Nice. 24. What do I want? I'm just gonna write, I want to be HR executive in healthcare. Make the first 4 to 5 words benefit headline. Use popular keywords. Right. And just spend an hour on this. This stuff is so important, right? Like, just see how, like, you might say, oh, I love the way that one sounds, right? Building high performing healthcare workforces. See how much more impactful that opening is than anything you have here.
Okay.
All right. You could just spend an hour and really let ChatGPT help you find and keep tweaking it till you're really happy. Use all 5 lines they let you. Anyone who's not connected to Maria, let's connect to her now. Let's get her over 500. She's only a few away. We can do that.
I've been trying.
Connect, throw your URL here in the chat. Just anyone who's not connected, just do her a favor. Let's get her over 500.
Hey,
I don't
Maria,
like,
Yes.
I'll help you out with that.
Oh, appreciate it.
That's what I'm talking about today.
I would use the Air Force logo here too, in addition to Auburn. All right, make it evident your military. That's what companies are going to like to see. This, instead of the background here of, is that San Antonio?
Yes.
Just go with healthcare background, right? Just find, get on images, put your tools on large, right? So you get a high quality, and just find one that speaks to you, whatever it is, right? It doesn't matter. You might say, oh, I like that. And your picture is going to go in the bottom left-hand corner. This stuff, this first impression, guys, is crucial. Just like Trevor's saying, they will spend 3 seconds staring at this before deciding, do I want to stay here or move on to the next one? And if they land here and say, wait, CEO, we don't need a CEO, we need an HR healthcare, and they're gone, your 24 years of experience are down the drain in that opportunity, and you lost that opportunity to keep them. This is easy stuff that anyone can do. You just gotta make that effort to do this. It's not hard. Spend a couple hours. This is the most important part of your LinkedIn before I start doing this and scrolling, right? You don't even have a about section, right? They're giving
No,
you
I'm still
That's
working
okay.
on that.
You're doing, just keep chipping away at this stuff, right? That's the purpose of SkillBridge, to help you guys, look amazing. And sometimes it takes some time to do it all, but just bang it out. Just go, once you finish this, even grab your whole resume, paste it into chat and say, write a 3,000 character about section for my LinkedIn page, use popular keywords from healthcare HR jobs, talk about all my great experiences from serving 24 years in the Air Force, how they relate to this particular job. Write it in bullet format. All right. And in no time, you'll have this page looking 10x what it is right now. All right. Let's just look quickly at your post. Which one do you want us to look at? This one?
Any post that you want to.
All right. Let's just take a quick peek. We'll get started in 1 minute.
I did
I'm a
one on a
visual
fortune
person.
cookie the other day, which was fun.
What, the fortune? Is it here?
Um,
Did you write an original one for the fortune? I want to look
I
at
did.
an original. All right, let me look at that one. Where'd it go? Tell me when I get there.
Let's see.
You've been doing a lot. Good job.
A lot of good stuff on LinkedIn.
That's awesome. You're doing a lot of reposting of other people's content, which is fine, but I'd rather see the majority of it be your content.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm still looking to find my voice.
You'll find it. That's all you can do. Just keep chipping away. Good job, though. These all look good.
You,
You're
you can
tagging.
use ChatGPT to help you find your voice, to putting in your content, like
Yeah.
your hobbies, the things that you enjoy, what you're trying to do, and ask it to have you put something in with what you're thinking about and give you advice, and you'll have the voice.
You got it. But these are all good. You're doing good comments on each. You're tagging people, Maria. So way to go. And you're doing it. That's the most important. You're just jumping in. You'll get better each day. These look all good, though. Way to go. All right. Why don't we get cranking? Because it's 11. Thank you guys for jumping on. We got a great guest this morning. We got Trevor Greenberg here. He was infantry for 7 years in the Army. Lives out in Louisville, Kentucky. Stop sharing. Okay, good. And he runs the Disgruntled PM podcast. We'll get to hear all about that. He's an expert in project management. He's worked at numerous companies over the years, from Tractor Supply Company to Booz Allen to the VA, and went to Auburn. So, Trevor, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is great, man. So tell everyone a little bit about yourself and your background and your military experience, and so they get a good foundation.
Yeah, so I did 7 years in the Army, all active duty. I was in from '04 to 11. I spent 4 years in the 82nd and then 3 years working at the airborne school. Uh, and then I've been a project manager for about 15 years, as Jordy said, working in a variety of industries from retail, healthcare, IT, government consulting, emerging technology. I've kind of been everywhere. But let's be honest, you guys aren't here to hear me talk about my military time, right? So when I got out of the Army, I had an MBA from Auburn and I was an E6 as a infantryman. My first job out of the military was working for $8 an hour, working at the Auburn Student Athlete Library, telling athletes to shut up. I worked my way up to IT support technician and then moved on to other roles. I'm going to kind of highlight my career and then I'll go through in detail about things later. And then the highlight of my career was I brought the first Israeli-made interior-specific drone to the US. I tested it, built the use cases, arranged for 3 pilot partner programs, as well as was instrumental in the first commercial sale of the product in the US. I was named a co-inventor on 3 US patents, and I also host the Disgruntled PM podcast. So let's take you back a little bit to post-military time when I got out. I was working in the student athlete library, telling athletes to shut up, dealing with college kids. Finally made my way into my first professional role, which was with a small specialty clothing company, and they sold overpriced clothes to college kids. And that's where I kind of learned about project management, because I was the program manager for their e-commerce division. From there, my family moved from Auburn because there wasn't really a lot of opportunity there to Tennessee. And I started working for the VA. I leveraged my Six Sigma green belt that I got when I was doing my MBA and got tied into teaching Six Sigma courses, and also was selected to get multiple advanced Six Sigma certifications, including a Lean Six Sigma black belt through the VA. Now, anybody knows anything about working in the government sector, there's a lot of politics at play, and I kind of saw that there wasn't really a lot of room for me to grow there. So what do? I go out and I start contracting. And there's 2 types of contracting in the private sector. There's what you think of with government contracting, where you're hired, you're working for somebody, you're a consultant. Then there's working for staffing agencies as a contractor, where you go in, you're on spec, you're paid an hourly rate, and you're basically treated like a second-class citizen at a lot of organizations. I was working as the second. My contract decided, or Tractor Supply, when I was working for them, decided they didn't want to pick up my contract at the end of the time because they had other plans. So now I'm out of work and I have to figure out, what is this networking thing? How do I meet people? How do I build those connections? So I started going to events and fumbling my way through things. And this is still back in 2018, before LinkedIn and a lot of the tools that we have now were really popular. So I found a mentoring program. I signed up for it. I requested a mentor who also got his MBA from Auburn and was a Navy pilot. Pretty good fit. I was coincidentally contacted by a recruiter for the same healthcare company that this person worked for. Told my mentor about it. I went through the interviews. He asked me who's the hiring manager, and he sent an email over referring me. Now, I don't know that one was directly related to the other, but I did wind up receiving an offer for that contract role. So this is kind of the first step in figuring out, how does this networking thing work? How does the power of knowing people and being referred really help you? So after that contract wrapped up, me and my family decided to move to Kentucky. Now, when this contract was wrapping up and I knew it wasn't getting renewed, I had to figure out, how do I make my way in Kentucky when I don't know anybody there? I don't know anyone professionally. I don't have any connections. I'm starting out at zero here. So what do? I go on LinkedIn and I start scouring it for anybody that's a recruiter, anybody that's a military recruiter, anybody that went to Auburn, anybody that went to San Diego State, people of influence who were infantry, people of influence who were in the 82nd, people of influence who were just in the military. And I kind of built form messages for all those different type of connections, and I just sent them out. Wouldn't you know it, I stumble into a recruiter her son was named Trevor, and at the time he had just joined the Army to become a Ranger. So I got lucky. She responded, and she happened to know every single veteran in town that had any influence. And first thing she did was send off a giant email to like 10 different people saying, hey, this is Trevor. He's an Army vet. He's looking at moving to Louisville. Can we help him out? So I had like 10 different email conversations going on one chain, and I did the same thing with all of them. After one or two emails, I said, let's hop on a call and talk. Through meeting these people and then them saying, hey, you should talk to Steve, you should talk to John, everything else, I wound up interviewing and was offered a role with Booz Allen Hamilton. They covered my relocation and sponsored my security clearance, all through networking and without even setting a foot in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. So pretty impressive. Now let's skip over some of the other stuff and we'll talk about present state. Got an impressive background. I've done a lot of things. I've been a PM for almost 15 years, got all the letters and certifications after my name that you want. But in 2024, I also went through 2 layoffs. I'm currently unemployed and have been so since October of 2024. I'm living the dream, right? Well, this year I've spent refining skills that I had learned previously, but they were blunt objects before. Now I'm building them into sharp knives and precision. In January of this year, I had a soul-crushing realization. And that was that in my job search, I wasn't at zero. I was at a negative number because when I got laid off in October of 24, I tapped all my go-to people in my network to say, hey, you got anything? You know anyone? And then in January, after the holidays are over, I can't go back to people and say, hey, remember me? I'm still here. I'm still not working, because people got their own stuff to worry about. Nobody cares. So what do? I tap into the veteran network. I get on mentoring calls. I averaged at least 3 calls a week for probably the first half of the year. I attended workshops, and I really paid attention to what people were doing on LinkedIn. I learned, and I've kind of built my own style of how I go about doing these things. But the real game changer is when I realized I, as well as everybody else on this call, is a member of the most exclusive networking group in the world, the Military Veteran Network. I would estimate about 80% of the professionals out there who are prior service those are the people you want to talk to. There's about 20% that are just dirtbags. We all dealt with them in the service. We all know who they are, and that's fine. We don't focus on them. We ignore them because they're not going to help us. We focus on the ones we have something in common with and want to help. Were they in the same branch of service as you? Same MOS, same unit. All of these ways are how you bond quickly with people and get them to want to get buy-in for what your mission is, because they want to help. Everybody wants to help people that are like them. So when you network, and I'll say I hate that word because it's very transactional in its connotation. You want a relationship built. Understand that when you reach out to somebody, you're asking for their time and their story. Don't waste this opportunity leading with, do you have a job? Or do you know someone who has a job? That comes later. Show that you're a giver and not a taker, because if you're a taker, you get relegated into that 20% of people that we don't want to associate with. So how do you do this? How do you build these bonds? You know, I'll give you a couple examples of things in my personal life where I was on a military mentoring website. I saw a name that looked familiar. The guy's face looked familiar. Booked a call with him. I reached out, and on the call, before we even said hello, I said, "Were you a White Falcon from 04 to 08 in Scout Platoon?" He was like, "Yes, I was. How'd you know?" I was like, "I was in HHC too. You know, we were all there together, you know, blah, blah." Just started reminiscing, talking about the days back at Bragg, the deployments, all the misery that we endured. And come to find out, he's mid-level manager at Salesforce. And he said, you know, if there's any role you see at Salesforce that you want, let me know. I can refer you and I can get you in the door a little bit better than just applying online. And I said, you know, hey, do you want to know about my background, my quals, any of that stuff? He's like, nope, we served together. I know who you are. I remember you. That's all I need to know. You're good. Another example is while I was working for a healthcare company, I knew that the director of the PM, I was a contractor, so I was the lowest level of employee there. I knew that the director of the PMO was one of his pride and joy service times was when he was an officer in the 82nd Aviation. So one day I happened to be walking in my car and I look over and there he is. He's just walking to his car and I am too. So I start talking to him, and my son had just been born. So we were talking about our days, and I said, yeah, you know, this morning was rough. Had to chase the coffee with the monster, just like the days back at Bragg. And he stops, looks at me, do the obligatory, oh, when were you there? What'd you do? And then he hands me his card and says, hey, book some time. Let's go to lunch and we'll talk. You know, if you've ever worked in project management, especially as a contractor, how often do you get a captive audience with the director of the PMO? And another example is I was doing a business meeting with someone. I had done some research and found out that he was a jump master in the 82nd. So I start off the conversation leading in with, I was a jump master too. I was in the 82nd. We build that bond over 10 minutes of just BSing and talking. And he is very influential now in a role. And he told me outright that he's going to come on my podcast, and he's turned many other people away, but he wants to come on mine because he knows that we have that bond. These are the kinds of relationships we build, and we build them like that because everybody knows what it means when you say you were a certain MOS, you were in the Army, you were doing these things, and we need to make sure that we're exploiting them for good. Because I know exploitation is a bad word, but in project management, we use it both positive and negative. So, you know, how do you use this? Because you got to use the connection, but you don't abuse it. And I don't know if there are any spouses on the call, but spouses are in this club too. They have their own support group as well as the veteran group. But I would caution spouses to think about, you can use your significant other's service as a common bond, but don't trade on it. Don't conflate their service with your identity. Keep those separate. So now that I've kind of talked about how powerful these things are. How do we build them? This is where you have to figure out your own style. And I'm going to go over kind of a basic approach. Mine's a little bit different because that's just something I've built over the last year on how I'm doing things. But the first thing you have to do is you have to use LinkedIn like it's a research tool. Find those people, find those jobs, find the recruiters, find whatever it is that you're looking for and target them. Figure out who they are, who those people are that you want to meet. Then you look, are they active? Are they posting? Do they post content regularly? Or do they just share it? Or are they lurkers? If they post, then what you need to do is ring that notification bell so you see when they post. You get that alert. And then you comment. Make yourself subtly known that you're paying attention to their stuff. Because, as Jordy said earlier, respond to comments. If you comment and they're active, they're going to respond. And if they see you commenting on 2 or 3 posts, they're going to recognize your name, especially if you're not a first connection. So now you're a little bit known to these people. You send the connection request. If they accept, this is where the magic happens. This is where you really make your mark. You separate yourself from everyone else by reaching out and talking to them. I know it's tough, but this is where you get the connection. This is where you get to talk to people, and one of the things I'm sure a lot of people are thinking is, when I send that connection request, do I put a note in or not? That's a ongoing debate. Some people say put the note in so you can let them know that you're a real person and that you like their content. Some people say no, because my personal opinion is I don't put notes in connection requests unless it's something specific. And the reason I do that is because I want somebody, if they see me, odds are they're going to click on my profile and then they're going to go and look at me and they're going to get a better picture of who I am than just a 500 character note. But that's a personal decision and a personal approach on how you want to do it. One of the other things you have to focus on is being genuine, honest, and actually build these relationships. Talk to them. Talk to these people. If they send you a message, respond. Make it an ongoing conversation. Just because you're going through LinkedIn doesn't mean you can't have a conversation that carries on for weeks. I've got on my LinkedIn at any given time, I've probably got 30 people I'm talking to on a regular basis. One of the things that you can do that you really need to focus on is, I will say to everybody, you need to be spending at least 30 minutes a day on LinkedIn just looking for targets of opportunity, looking for these people. Send those requests. If you're not working, you should be maxing out your requests by Wednesday or Thursday, targeting people, because there will be a law of averages. You send out 200 requests in a week, you will get probably 40% acceptance. But I've seen connection requests get accepted from 3 months ago that I've sent out. So they're there. They're just not they might not be active, or they might not be responding. And that's fine. Just remember, the people that do accept, those are the ones you want to talk to, because those are the ones that actually said yes. My experience, people want to help. They generally just don't know how, or that you don't exist. One of the most important things that I've done in my strategy for LinkedIn is I don't build an echo chamber, meaning don't just target the people that are in the profession you're in or you're looking to be in. Branch out. Insert yourself into other situations. I was on a mentoring call with somebody that worked at a very prestigious government cyber agency. And we did our military stories and stuff. And then he said, so what can I tell you about my organization? Or tell me why you think you'd be a good fit at my organization. And I looked at him and I said, I want no part of your organization. But what I wanted to do was to talk to him, because that gave me the opportunity to have that conversation, to sell myself. So I was a one of project managers that he knew. And I was able to actually explain what it is that a project manager does, because a lot of people don't understand or don't know, or just they might know, but if you can articulate the value proposition of what you add as a PM, they'll look at you and go, oh, that's brilliant. That's great. this is how you build that credibility and social capital, because you've got to make yourself known, and you've got to promote yourself. It's kind of like Ricky Bobby said, if you ain't first, you're last. If you build yourself up in an echo chamber of people that do what you do, you're one of 1,000 that they know. But if you branch out and then you start going into other worlds, guess what? You're one of one, or one of two or three. And if you're talking to these people, guess what? You're top of mind every time when they hear about something and say, oh, Trevor has that skill that we're looking for. He would be a good fit. Or Trevor might need to meet Steve, who I heard they're looking for somebody like him. It's been proven that your next job doesn't come from your first connection. It comes from your second and thirds, because usually the people that you're connecting with can help, but their network is where you start really making exponential growth. So start thinking about, how do you expand out? Lately I've been on a binge for marketing people. Do you think that I'm not learning best practices and all kinds of tricks and techniques to market the Disgruntled PM podcast? You better believe I'm learning from them, and I'm getting to know them. So in private conversations, I'm hearing things they're telling me that work, that they're just keeping to themselves because they don't want to share everything they know. So I'm interacting, I'm talking to them, I'm following their content. So now we got to talk about your content. And Jordy alluded to this earlier about making content. You have to make content if you want to be known, but you also have to make it your own. Use your personality in it. It can be entertaining, thoughtful, academic, whatever works for you. You just have to keep it professional adjacent, because this is a professional platform. This is not Facebook. So how do you separate yourself from everyone else? Be original. I came up one day with my series that I do every Monday called PM Monday, where every Monday I break down a project management concept, and I do it in a way so that everybody and their mother can understand it. I don't make it project management specific. It's for and I say it's targeted to the people that work in every other industry that hear these buzzwords and don't know what they mean, so that they can be better educated about what about what it is. And I make that every Monday, and I've been doing that for 6 months now. Now, when you're thinking about your content, I'm going to kind of touch on something that's a hot button topic, and these are my opinions, but it's okay to use AI, but don't copy and paste from the chatbot to the post. Make it your own. Read it, modify the format. There's a lot of conversations that go on behind closed doors and DMs about, hey, did you see this person? Do you know this person? Your reputation follows you. And I have personally had conversations with influential people in their different verticals, and we'll say, oh yeah, that person just posts AI stuff. Yeah, we just ignore them. So that's the fastest way for your content to be ignored, is by copying and pasting and let it be known and making it obvious. If you look at content, find best practices. There are people out there who make their whole strategy is about how to make a successful post. You're not going to make a viral post by planning a viral post. It just happens. And if you're worried about how your content looks, don't be. Odds are when you first start posting, nobody reads it. That's the truth. I make some posts that I'm like, this is awesome. Everyone's going to love it. And I get 2 comments on it. I make a random post about something dumb that I just wrote off the cuff, gets tons of comments. There's no rhyme or reason about it, but it's a game of numbers. The more you post, the more you're going to get noticed, and the more people are going to be engaging with you. Like, I know of at least 2 or 3 people, they have notifications on for my content because I see them every single post in the comment section, and I respond to them every single time. So when someone comments on your post, make sure you're responding to them, and don't just say, thanks for reading, thanks for commenting. Show that you read it and provide some insight back to them. Summarize it. Do something to let them know you acknowledge their time and effort, because those are the people that you're going to want to that you're going to be wanting to interact with later, right? So you've got to remember that whatever you're doing, however you're presenting yourself, put yourself in the position of the people that you're targeting and think about, how does that person view my content? Because I can say my content's great, but if I'm looking for recruiters, I'm looking for other people to listen to my show. If I'm not positioning myself as an expert in the field of project management, do you think they're going to want to listen to a show about project management if I can't even articulately write about it and talk about it? Probably not. So also think about video content. That's a kind of a big deal now. Can you stare at your screen and articulately share your thoughts? The beauty of video is you can edit. You don't just get one take. One of the strategies I've been told is get on Zoom, record it, and treat it like you're creating your own podcast just to get the content out there. Just start talking about whatever it is that you're into, and then you can always chop it up and edit it into 30-second clips later. But you've got to start doing this to make it work, because it's just like a muscle. If you're awkward on camera, guess what? It shows, and that's fine. But it's also good practice for interviews, because if you're talking about that story of how you saved the government $10 million and you can't share it staring at the screen, how are you going to share it with the recruiter? So start thinking about all of these things as you're positioning yourself, because we all want to be experts. We all want to be known. So how do we do this? And that's just through trial and error and figuring it out. My first post, I spent months agonizing over what to write about, how to post it, what to do. And I was on a call with a very influential mentor of mine, and he told me, he's like, Trevor, you're an idiot. I've heard of at least 10 great topics in the 30 minutes we've been talking. So after that, I made my first post just off the cuff. Now I'm at 6 written pieces every week, videos, podcast promotion, everything else. And it's all just, it grows over time. Nothing happens overnight, but you've got to figure out, how do you build your strategy? How do you build your content? I wrote last week about the concept of best versus best known. And I'm going to do a little bit of an exercise with the room here, because I want everyone to think of cheeseburgers. Where's the best place in town that you live to go get a cheeseburger? Everyone got it in their head? All right. Is the answer McDonald's? Yeah, I didn't think it was. But that's the kind of concept of best versus best known. McDonald's is the best known cheeseburger in the world. It's definitely not the best burger in the world, but you have to build that expertise that you have and concurrently make yourself known. Because I'm going to say this over and over again in this talk, that if you don't promote yourself, nobody else will. It feels icky at first. It feels self-conscious. It feels like you're doing something wrong. But how is anybody else supposed to have confidence in you if you can't show that you have it in yourself? And that doesn't mean walking around like you're 10 feet tall, but walking around saying, I know I've got great content. I know I'm an expert in this field, and I'm proving it. You got to build that base of expertise as you make yourself known, and then you kind of balance those two out with whichever way you want it to go, more or less. It's none of this is nuclear physics. It's just stuff you don't hear about because everybody wants the shortcuts. I'll tell you right now, I spend an average of at least 3 hours a day on LinkedIn almost every day, between posting, commenting, interacting, preparing content, and all of that, because I want to concurrently be the best and the best known in my field. But that's 3 hours throughout the day. I'll check it periodically. Hey, did anyone comment on my stuff? And because I'm posting so much stuff, I've actually had to turn off the notification bell or the notification badge on all my devices, because I found myself over the last week, oh, there's 2 notifications. I got to check it. I got to see what's going on. Instead, I'll just look for when I've got 10 minutes in the day. Okay. Respond to content. Oh, let me see what's going on. Scroll for a few minutes. Oh, that's a good post. Let me comment on that person. Oh, I like that person over there. I haven't commented on their stuff in a while. Let me remind them I exist. These are all things that that you've got to start doing and strategies if you want to make yourself known. You know, this is all an investment. Every overnight success was 20 years in the making that night before. You know, I started the Disgruntled PM podcast because I was challenged to face my fears by a mentor. But I kept doing it because it showcases my expertise, and it's also a platform that I use to not only elevate myself, but I elevate others. I bring on brilliant minds that I know that are hidden away on LinkedIn or hidden away that I know personally in my life, and I bring them on and I showcase them. I don't make it so that you have to have a certain number of followers to get on my show by design. You know, I've used this podcast as a networking tool as well. I've gotten access to CEOs, influencers, anybody you can think of. I'm probably 2 connections away to get to someone. And that's because when you give, you get. You know, I'm making it known that when I'm out there talking to people and doing everything, I'm always trying to be a connector. I'm always trying to relate to people. And when I built the show, the focus was to present project management in an approachable and entertaining way. This is not the show if you want to learn how to pass the PMP. I say that outright. I'll recommend you to shows that will teach you how to pass the PMP. I'll recommend you to people I know. But I bring on real experts to relate their expertise to the field of project management. You know, one of the biggest things you need to focus on is offer to raise others up, and they'll reciprocate. So let's talk a little bit more about content now. And that's because, you know, I post a lot about being a better PM because it also helps promote my show. You know, I want you to think about this. And if you take nothing else from my talk, I want to leave you with the concept of being a giver instead of a taker. There's definitely a time to take, but if you go into conversations thinking about what can I offer you, you can learn a lot about the other person, and the other person will learn a lot about you by saying, oh, this person is actually interested in me, not what doors can I open for them. Be a connector. There's no greater joy that you can have than connecting 2 strangers and impacting lives exponentially, because that goes back to that second and third connection thing. I make it a point that whenever I'm talking to somebody, in the back of my head, I'm always thinking, who can I introduce them to that would be a great person for them to meet? You know, on Saturday, someone made a funny post about cats on LinkedIn. I commented, and someone else chimed in on the comment section, and we were going back and forth in the comment section. And she said something about, you know, my comment didn't sound very servant leadership like about my comment. And I said, hold on a second. And I just pulled up her profile, sent her a direct message, and I said, hey, it's funny you mentioned servant leadership. I actually have a post about that and why I hate that term coming out this week. And then she told me she's an aspiring PM learning how to be a PM. And I was like, oh, you should listen to my show because you'll learn a lot of advanced techniques that aren't taught in books, or you'll just learn what it's like to be a PM if that's a career field you actually want to go into. And turns out we've been messaging for the last 3 days nonstop, just about different things. And this is how this all works. It's not about how do you get out of people. It's about how do you provide value? Because if we're looking to provide value, guess what's going to happen? Things are going to come back to us. You know, I go back to the example of that job at Booz Allen. I got that job because I spent so much time talking to people and just being curious, asking questions. I did say I was looking for work, but that wasn't what I led with. I led with, I'm a talented and experienced project manager. And by the way, I'm looking for a role. If you network and make things transactional, that's how you're viewed. Remember that your reputation is not built by you. It's built by the people you interact with. And what they think of you is more important than anything else. You know, we all remember the military and how the saying goes, you're only remembered by your last failure. Well, guess what? When you interact with someone who's influential, if you go in there leading strong with, I'm looking for work, and that's what you lead with, that's what you get known as. I recently had a meeting with a financial planner who is former Air Force. And we were just talking and we were just BSing about different things. And I kind of wasn't 100% sure on the guy, but he mentioned he knew someone that I know. And I was like, oh, you know Sean? He's like, yeah. Okay. That night I messaged Sean and I'm like, hey, what do you think about Mark? Oh, Mark's awesome. You know, he sits on the board of my charity, you know, all this stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. Now I trust Mark with my money without question because Sean says he's a good guy. There's also plenty of people that I know who we all talk to the same people and we all say, yeah, that guy, I wouldn't trust him to watch my cat. Or that person over there, yeah, I'd go to the wall for them. And just remember, your reputation is the one thing you can't get back once you lose it. So be careful with how you interact with people. Make sure you're professional. Make sure you're asking for time. Make sure you're thanking them. And, you know, to sum up this whole thing, get on LinkedIn, make your list, target people, target industries, target jobs, whatever it is, interact with their content, send the request, slide into their DMs and actually talk to them, interact with people, offer to help, because every interaction I have, I always say, if there's someone in my network that you want to meet and I actually know them, I'm happy to make the introduction, because you'll find on LinkedIn, there's a lot of people that are connected to people and we don't know them, and that's fine. You know, I was listening to a talk by a executive from a local business here, and he said, if you send me a connection request, I will always accept it because I'm a nice guy. But if you send me if you send me an email saying, hey, I saw this job, can you refer me? I'm going to tell you to pound sand because you haven't done anything to separate yourself and to show me who you are aside from that connection request. You have to talk to people. You have to get to know them. You have to build what I call your hallway file. That's what two people will say about you when they pass each other in the hallway. Subscribe to the Disgruntled PM podcast and subscribe to my new Patreon, where I have bonus content from all of my guests. I talk about pointed questions for pointed answers. Some of the things I'm talking about today, I've gotten from that bonus content by asking them. So I'll joke and say the last two are optional. You know, those are not required. But do you see what I've done here today? I've mentioned my show so many times throughout this talk because I'm proud of what I'm doing. I want to promote myself. I want to make it known what I'm doing and what I'm about, because if I'm not promoting myself, why would anyone else care? Right? So what are some key takeaways from this? Embrace the veteran network. It's your most valuable asset. Build relationships. Don't just network, but be a giver. Help before you ask. Leverage LinkedIn. Be active, engage, and be authentic, and promote yourself. Because if you don't, nobody else will.
What great advice, Trevor. This is spot on, man. I had no idea you were going to cover so many topics. I think John's got a question for you.
Yeah. What's up, John?
Hey, Trevor. Thanks for coming in and speaking to us today. I'm also a PMP holder, so I'm definitely going to check out your podcast. I guess this is less of a question and just more of an appreciation for all that you just kind of like put out. Michael Quinn put something out like a day or so ago, like on his LinkedIn. He's like one of those big, like,
oh, I know who he is.
Yeah. Basically talking about how exactly what you're saying. Like, don't be a taker, don't be transactional. Like, people reach out to him all the time saying, hey, like, can I get 30 minutes to pick your brain? He's like, no, like, I have a whole lot to do. Here's my resources, use those resources, and then maybe we can talk. So what you're telling us right now is really the secret of the game. Like, don't take, you've got to be able to provide value to people one way or another, and that's kind of how you grow your network. So yeah, like that's a real big shortcut, and I don't think people realize how profound that is. And you just kind of like drop that nugget in here and like, damn,
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you that I've spent probably close to a year learning a lot of these things from a lot of different people. And, you know, I probably may have over promoted my show a little bit, but I did that to prove a point that if I'm not willing to promote it myself, why should anybody else here listen? Because I'm not proud, because that says I'm not proud of it. It says I'm not proud of what I'm doing with my PM Monday posts. And when it comes to content, I'll give you another trick that I've learned too is find a way to separate yourself. You know, I stumbled onto my thing is I make cartoon animals in my posts. Every one of my scheduled posts will have some sort of a cartoon animal in it, and they're all the same general theme. And I've actually had multiple people tell me my content, my cartoon animals are so distinct that when they're scrolling and they see those animals, they know that's Trevor's post. I want to go read that. You know, you have to, I don't want to say brand yourself, but you've got to kind of come up with a way that you make yourself known in every way humanly possible. Because the more that you're out there and known, the more you can establish yourself as that best known, not just the best.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
You know, just like you said with Michael Quinn, he spent years building that persona. And, you know, as somebody in the PM space specifically, Michael Quinn has a very mixed reputation. And so do some of those other big people amongst the community. But he's okay with that because he knows what he's into. And that's why I'm saying you need to start thinking about how do you do that? Like PM Monday, that came to me in the shower on a Monday morning, Monday afternoon. I was posting it. And 6 months later, I'm still posting them. And I've got another 6 months worth of content scheduled. You know, one of the things that people don't talk about with your content is plan ahead. I have tons of scheduled posts every Monday or if Monday morning hits and my week's content is not in the scheduler, ready to go, all done, I have failed. Because I do make random posts and ad hoc posts and stuff like that. But if you want to be a thought leader, you've got to put out thought leadership. And that doesn't happen by randomly throwing out something on a Tuesday at 4 and then another one on Thursday at 6. My content comes out 8 a.m. every day. My PM Monday posts every Monday at 2 Eastern. Those are just done. I put them in the scheduler. I don't have to think about it. You know, this is all strategy. There's no secret to it. It's just work, effort, and time.
Trevor, how can they find your podcast? Can you put the link in the in the chat for everyone? Okay, if people connect with you on LinkedIn too?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. He's take him up on this stuff, man. Watch his podcast, learn from him. He's doing this stuff right. He knows this space extremely well.
And I'll give you one more too. Ask. Do not ever be afraid to ask for what you want. I've gotten CEOs. I've gotten one of the top podcast hosts in the world in this space coming on. His episode is actually releasing next Monday because I was in one of his workshops. I mentioned about the show. He did a callback at the end of the show about something because it was related to the topic at hand. And I just put in the chat, hey, do you want to be a guest? And he's like, because you asked, yes, I will.
It's like that, what's that quote from Michael Jordan?
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, you got to go out. And I tell them too, like sometimes the higher you go up in an organization, the nicer the people can be, you know?
Well,
and people get intimidated by CEOs or founders, or it's like, freaking go for it, man.
And a lot of those people, like I said, people want to help because when you get to the executive level, you didn't get there without help. And one of the things everybody always says when you ask them, what can I do to pay you back? They say, pay it forward. Yeah. Especially in this community, everybody says, pay it forward. I'm here today talking about this stuff because other people have helped me.
Right. So good. All right. One last question from Michael, then we'll let Trevor bounce. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, thanks, Trevor, for all this. It's awesome. The question I got's more of a practical question, just from something that you said, especially with the planning and the consistency, because I think that's incredibly important. Because I think maybe other people are curious. Do you use a specific scheduler plan for your posts, or is it like just by platform?
I'm glad you asked that, because with LinkedIn especially, it's been proven over and over again. If you use other tools, they will kill your content. Use the LinkedIn scheduler. It is the most simple, easiest thing to use. And the best part is, like, here, if I can share my screen really quick, I'll even show you.
Wait, you're saying if you use a site like Metricool or something to push out your posts, that LinkedIn does not like that?
Yes, that's what I've been told by numerous people.
Yeah, LinkedIn, their schedule is great. You can.
Yeah, like I'll share my screen really quick and I'll show you. I'll point blank even show you, hey, there it is. Okay. See this? This is all my week's worth of content right here. And it's still going.
Yeah, it's great. And you could go back and edit stuff if you want. You don't have to, it's not final.
Nope.
Look at all the cartoons. Who's your favorite cartoon character?
Oh man, I don't have one, but to the point, hold on.
Who would be the character that your readers see most often?
The bear.
Oh, it's all of my content, all of my cartoons are AI generated. But if you look here, I'll show you, like, see, they're all the same general theme. So when people see that, they've said they know these are hallmarks of Trevor. That's actually a really funny post. A friend of mine roasted me and said, "Don't hire me," and then made all of the things I've done as negatives.
I like that. Be unique. This is great. Trevor, thank you so much.
But that absolutely.
Yep.
And that goes back to her personality on LinkedIn as the type of, she goes for humor. So she's roasting people. She's doing all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's
Be
her.
yourself, find your voice.
Exactly.
Comfortable, and stick with it. You're going to get, like he said, very few people are going to respond or comment or like in the beginning. Don't get discouraged. Just like Maria was showing us earlier, just keep going. Don't stop. And eventually you'll get really good at it. That's great, man. Trevor, thank you, man. We appreciate you coming on today. This means a lot to us, and everything that you do to support this community. So everyone check out his podcast and follow him on LinkedIn, and we'll have you back in a couple months.
Sounds good. Thanks.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much, man. Take care. All right, guys, we have